Welcome back to Cozumel, everybody. Didn't think I'd be back here so soon, did you? But here I am, back and ready for more. So we'll see what we can find today. Got a few targets. I'm not going to tell you what they are, because I don't want to spoil the surprise if we see them. But should be good. Beautiful weather. It's great last time we were here, so I'm really excited to see what happens today. See you guys in the water. A very grumpy looking wise man. It's like someone stole one of his sheep or something. It felt great to be back in the water in Cozumel. It's just really amazingly clear here, and it feels like you're just stepping into a completely different world. It's just really incredible. You see us here descending at first sight. Like last time, we did a 2-tank dive, and we actually did it with the same company as last time, and they were great once again. I would highly recommend them. Here we are, just reaching the bottom here, and we're getting ready to go and see what we can find. Now, almost right away, the guide pointed out these Caribbean spiny lobsters here. He also spotted these West Indian spider crabs. They were huge. I don't think I've ever seen any that were that big before. And there's a black triggerfish. I tried this time to get a few more shots of them. I realized last time that in my excitement I kind of missed getting shots of them, really. So I tried to go a bit slower in general this time, take in things a little bit more. It's a trumpet fish. Those are always nice to see. There's a nice big group of really colorful fish here. There's a queen angelfish, there's a French angelfish, stoplight parrotfish, rock beauty. A good day for angelfish here. I think we had 4 different species, which you'll see in this video. And again, the coral formations there in Cozumel are just amazing. The sponge formations as well, the giant barrel sponges and the coral, it's quite something. You could spend probably years of your life looking at all the different species of macroalgae and coral and sponges, and you'd still probably never see all of them. Now this is a yellow cheek wrasse, and this was one of my target species. I'd never seen this before. It's a bit of a deeper water species of wrasse, so that's why I'd never seen it before. And you can see that really nice yellow sort of cheek, yellow ear that gives it its name. There's our next species of angelfish there, a gray angelfish. There's a nice group of grunts. And there were lots of blue chromis down there. Lots of blue chromis. Those are fish that they're quite common, but they're very beautiful. I always wish I could get like a really rock solid good shot of one, but they move around pretty quickly. Another rock beauty. Those are also deceptively hard to get shots of. Oh, and here, this was really cool. This is probably the highlight of our 2 dives. This huge green moray out actively hunting during the day, and he was just moving all over the place, just didn't care about us at all, doing its own thing, and you can just see how huge it is. They're not going to hurt you if you don't bother them. You'll notice it opens and closes its mouth. That's not a threat display. They have to do that in order to breathe properly. So that's why they do that. If you see a moray, you'll see it opening and closing its mouth. It's just doing that because it needs to be able to breathe. So that was definitely quite special, and I think that's definitely gotta be the biggest green moray I've ever seen. I saw a pretty big one at Phil Foster once, but that one was pretty huge. The black triggerfish there. But in the background is a honeycomb cowfish. These are common around Cozumel and sort of further south in the Caribbean. I've seen a few in Florida, but they're definitely not as common there, but they're really cool. There's a coney grouper. Probably one of the better shots I've gotten of one. And coming up here, you'll see a pudding white wrasse, an adult. Now the juveniles look quite different, but the adults look like that, and it's a pretty cool wrasse. They're pretty cool. Weird name though. And that there was a cherub fish, actually, another species of angelfish. And if you look closely, you can see them in this shot as well. If you look really closely, there's also a greater soapfish. That's what I was going for there. But the cherub fish is interesting. They're quite small, but they are in fact members of the angelfish family. They're hard to get shots of though because they really like to hide. But they're this lovely sort of purple and orange color. I hope I'll be able to get a really good shot of one someday. We're also checking underneath these crags here, these coral sort of crags, and here's a nurse shark that was hiding under one of them. And there's the requisite spotted goatfish. Every dive I see one of those. Oh, and I wish I'd gotten a better shot of this, but this is a golden tail moray. Pretty cool. Another thing we saw on this dive was a few more queen triggerfish, and I actually got some better shots this time than I did last time. They weren't so backlit. I got some much better views. They came pretty close, so that was a real treat. Queen triggerfish are really one of my favorite fish. There's a huge great barracuda. It's a white spotted filefish there. And you can see the current there. It wasn't as strong as last time, but there was definitely some current. You can see it pushing me there. Oh, here's a jolt-head porgy that I saw hiding behind that gorgonian there. And there's the ocean triggerfish that you can see a lot of in Cozumel. In the background, I think there's a queen triggerfish there as well. I think I get a closer shot. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, I got a closer shot of this queen triggerfish as well. I got really close to this one. And you can see it change its colors. Like, most of these fish can change colors basically at will. But the queen triggerfish has this really dramatic color pattern that it can just shift between whenever it wants. You can see it's pretty curious. It was swimming away from me, but it was still interested in me and wanted to see what I was up to. One thing we did on this dive that we'd never really done before was we did a lot of swim-throughs, which is basically going through these small sort of coral caves almost, like you can see here. And it provides a good opportunity for seeing some interesting species that like to live in these sort of dark recesses, sort of out of the light. It was a little bit freaky because some of these can be quite tight squeezes. I mean, we didn't go into any really sort of deep or sort of dangerous ones, but it was it was the first time I'd ever done it, and it was a little bit freaky. But I did see I got a nice view of this greater soapfish in one of those swim throughs, so that was pretty cool. We did a lot more of these sort of swim throughs in Grand Cayman, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, you can see here sort of the nature of these swim throughs. They're really just sort of like underwater caves made out of coral, with lots of different sort of entrances and places for fish to hide. They're pretty impressive. And to end off, we had this hawksbill sea turtle, which was actually the first one I'd ever seen in the Caribbean, and this video was shot by one of the guides. Pretty cool. You can see that very distinctive sort of hawk beak that it has. And that was pretty much it for those two dives. But like before, Cozumel didn't disappoint. It was an amazing spot. I'd love to go back there, and I hope you enjoyed taking this dive with me.